Namaskar. Welcome to The-Shree-Channel's new episode. Today we are going to talk about an exciting topic. You must have guessed it. It's about travel planning.
That is such a fun topic, Swapna. Spring is just around the corner, so I'm sure everybody is starting to plan their vacations. So all these pictures of our Holland trip have been popping up in my memory feed. What a fun trip it was.
It was. You are right. Ever since I saw those tulip gardens in my college days, I always wanted to experience them in person. And we have some travel enthusiasts in our friends group. They made it happen for all of us.
Yep. And we can keep talking about our trip because it was so much fun. But today, what I think we want to focus on is how do we actually go about planning a trip. And what I remember is for our Holland trip, we used experiences that you had with another trip you had gone to Europe. So can you tell us more about that?
Sure. I think you are referring to our Italy trip. So, as you might have guessed, I have a long list of archaeological sites that I wanted to visit in this lifetime. For example, Indus Valley in Machu Picchu, or Egyptian civilization in Cairo, and Rome in Italy was on the top of my list for a while. So since this was our first experiment, we decided on few basic rules. It was only 4 of us, so we decided to travel light. We didn't want to take too many bags because we were planning to use public transportation. In Europe, driving a car would make it so difficult for a driver, and then he won't be able to enjoy the vacation. So we watched a lot of videos first to decide what places we want to visit in Italy. After we decided on the places, then we shortlisted what cities we have to go to visit those places. Once we decided on our cities, then we planned our route because we were going to take only Euro train and maybe few bus tours or taxis. After that, we had a lot of itinerary planned out. After planning our itinerary, we also decided where to fly in and where to fly out from. It makes sense to start at Milan all the way at the top of the Italy. Then we also wanted to visit Naples, which is at the very bottom, but there was no flight back from Naples to Atlanta. So we took Euro train all the way to Naples and came back up to Rome. We visited 5 cities. We also tried to make hotel bookings for all these 5 cities. That was lot of work. And then we decided to take help from Vina World. It saved us lot of time and surprisingly lot of money because as we wanted, Vina World booked all our hotels less than 1 mile from train station.
That's good.
We also took help in booking our expeditions because Viator or the regular websites which book your excursions in Italy looks like they were expensive than Vina World. So we got their help in both the ways. There are few other agencies who do that all the time. Then we downloaded some reliable apps like Maps, Rix, audio books which are about Italy and the travel in Italy. We also made sure that we learn some Italian words just to interact with local. The cost effective ways to travel are traveling off season, and we did exactly that during our Italy vacation. We are empty nesters. We don't have school schedules to follow. So we did this vacation during off season. That saved us money. Of course, as you know, if we have to visit tulip gardens, we can be doing that. It has to be during those certain 3 or 4 weeks when you have to see the blooming tulips.
So that is tons of information, Swapna. And I'm sure our audience is going to benefit from all the tips that you have shared. So just to recap, what I would say is when you are traveling outside of US, especially Europe, don't bother driving. Just use an agency like Veena World or Gate One Travels. Their help will save you a lot of headache. The other thing is make sure you pack light. Cannot emphasize that enough. And finally, when you go with agencies like this, they do customized tours for you, which gives you a lot of flexibility. So it may end up being a little expensive, but if flexibility is more important, customized tours, otherwise they're pre-planned tours.
Ujwala, I think we got right back into how to plan vacations. And obviously we are empty nesters, so we took these vacations with small group of friends. But there are few people who are with families, have younger children, and they take vacations too. But most of these vacations are in USA. What do you think about those?
That is very, very true. Within USA, within driving distance, we did that every single spring break when our kids were having their spring breaks at the same time. Then it was Disney World, sometimes it was Florida beaches, sometimes we did hop on the plane and went to see families.
I think we did that too. Most of the times we did family vacations with other families so that our children had company, same age group children, and we drove long distances for these vacations.
Yeah, and those ages, their company was very important to them. Now that the kids are grown up, we just outsource the planning to them for our last family vacations. And they did it. They planned it, they made all the reservations, and guess where we ended up? We ended up on one of the Florida beaches and we had a lot of fun.
Wow, that's great to hear. But I'm thinking about our most memorable vacation, and that is Yellowstone National Park. Do you think you can tell me how you planned that one? How did you go about it?
So how did we go about planning it? You know what? Before we started the vacation, I knew very little about Yellowstone. All I knew was bisons and geysers. But as we got into the research, there is so much more. I could not believe how that Old Faithful erupts on clockwise. It's just magical. And you know, I'm a science fiction fan. So when we went to that Grand Prismatic, I thought like I was on a set of one of the science fiction movies or shows or something like that.
That's true.
But how did we go about planning? Let's get to the point. So I think that time what had happened was everybody was going to Yellowstone. It was a very popular destination. So we went to people and friends especially who had gone there before. That was our starting point. Once we learned from them what to do, one of the initial things was, so who goes with us? And honestly, we had to keep the group small because we had to drive. Once we got to the nearest city, then we were going to drive, so we had to have a small group who fits in one car.
Right.
That was first thing. Second thing is, where do you stay? Where do you stay? People like to stay inside the park. but that requires like more than a year of planning. So again, our friends had recommended we stayed in a hotel very close to the park entrance, the west side of the park, because then we didn't have to spend a lot of time driving back and forth just to get in the park. Packing for Yellowstone, you never know what the weather is going to be like. So you have to pack different clothes that you can wear in layers, because sometimes it may rain, sometimes it may snow. And if you remember, we actually drove in a snowstorm.
It did
right
snow.
Inside the park.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then shoes. You not only need comfortable shoes, you actually need hiking shoes.
Yeah.
You may not be a hiker, but those pathways in the park can be slippery, they may not be very sturdy, so invest in hiking shoes. And then two other things. Food is something you have to think about, because inside the park you're not going to find restaurants and fancy dining.
Yep.
So you need to keep some healthy snacks on hand. And then cell phone coverage. Inside the park,
That's true.
most likely you will not have cell phone coverage. So download the app for the park, download the places you want to visit inside the park before you leave your hotel, and then you will have a great time.
Awesome. Ujwala, you touched on so many important points. I'm so happy. Let me recap just a little bit. So if you are going to a national park, it's no luxury vacation. Either you stay in the park, just outside the park in a hotel, or you stay in a camp out. It is not a luxury vacation, totally different from European cities. Secondly, invest in good shoes. And third thing, sure to be carrying things like sunscreen and bug sprays and some hydration. So make sure to carry healthy food. Wow, that was awesome. And I'm so happy we did that vacation. It was absolutely a memorable one.
Anyway, Swapna, we talked about our past vacations, but what about our upcoming cruise in October? I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, cruise. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. It's great. I wouldn't say I love cruises, but I like them. It's so much fun with whole bunch of people. Every age group and every family can join in. We can take as many friends with us as we like. So convenient to plan those, right? The easiest thing is to plan a cruise, and we do that with lot of fun adventures.
That's true. And then on the cruise ship, there is something to do for everybody. In fact, our husbands may actually want to just go on a 3-day cruise and do everything, whether it's casino or go watch their entertainment shows or just drink. But they may not even want to get off the ship.
That's true. You don't have to book hotels, you don't have to look for car rentals, nothing. You just get on the port. Once you are on the port, you are ready to go for your excursions. One thing for sure, book your excursions with the cruise line, because if something goes wrong, you always have a backup plan.
I agree with that, because we actually have been through that on our Hawaii cruise. So going with the cruise line, we got a refund and we got a different excursion. So that's important.
Yeah, and packing for cruise can be little interesting though. Because think about this, you have a really small room, you cannot take big bags, but you need all kinds of clothes. You have to attend evening dinners, you have to go for excursions with casual clothes, and you also need to plan and do your swimwears. Think about the shoes. You need at least 3 kinds of shoes to take with you. So packing is the most challenging part of going on a cruise ship. Do you have any experience with that?
I sure do. It's a balancing act. And speaking about cruises, we cannot forget the cruise on the land.
Oh,
What I mean by that is all these all-inclusive resorts that are very popular in like Caribbean countries or Mexico, whether it's Cancun, Punta Cana, Cabos. They give you all the benefits of the cruise ship, and you don't have to worry about seasickness, or you don't have to worry about packing light.
I agree. They offer a lot of convenience and at the same time you can have lot of fun.
Jokes apart, seriously though, there are lots of videos on YouTube that actually compare the hotel room with the cabin room on a cruise ship. And they also will tell you how to pack effectively for a cruise ship. So I would say invest 10-15 minutes and watch those videos, and that will actually help you a great deal and make your planning of the cruise ship or getting ready for the cruise vacation a lot more enjoyable. Anyway, we spoke about so many different types of vacations or travel, but there are many more. And one of the ones that is very popular lately is adventure travel.
Yeah.
Like going up and down, or actually down and up Grand Canyon, or going to Everest Base Camp or Mansarovar. And I think one of the key things is you need a lot of physical fitness and endurance. And not just that, you need to have a very disciplined training plan that
That's
you have
true.
to follow. So that's what I would emphasize.
I totally agree. That is a category, the adventure travel. Maybe it's not for people like us, but we know a lot of our friends who do that, and we can point you to them, to the right people who can guide you to do these adventure travel. Nowadays, world has become so small. All these things and places that we used to only read in books or see in movies are now accessible to people like us. So easy. And it is great to have these vacations with your favorite people, your friends. So that makes it more enjoyable.
Very true. So I think adventure travel, maybe the Shree-Channel can do a separate episode on that.
Yeah.
And what I would say is overall, I want to emphasize that learning from friends' experiences is a very, very important starting point when you are planning a vacation. In fact, that's why we wanted to share our experiences with all of you. And I want to thank Shree-Channel for giving us this opportunity.
So, what do you think about this episode? We have shared our experiences with you. We have showed pictures that we took in our vacations. Please get back to us and send your pictures, your vacation itineraries, and maybe someone will benefit from it. They will use your experiences to plan their vacations.
Yeah, as we say in corporate lingo, we all can learn from each other's lessons learned as well as best practices. So please go ahead and send your vacation itineraries, vacation pictures and videos to Shree-Channel at the-Shree-Channel@gmail.com. Thank you again.
Thank you, friends.